Welcome to the Live Daily Show. I'm Sean, and we're at the beautiful Azurich Estate Hotel. And I am so excited about today's show because sometimes we don't use our voice. We don't stand up and get out there and do what it is that we know we need to do. So sit back, and I know you're gonna love it. I am so excited to be off location this episode. I get to go and talk to Rebecca. Rebecca is an amazing psychologist, and I want to learn so much more on how she uses horses to teach us how to use our voice. Rebecca, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming out to the farm.
This is incredible, and the work that you do blows my mind.
I'm biased, but I think it's great work. I think it's really helpful for people. I think it's good for my soul. I think it's good all the way around.
So tell me, what type of work really is it, right? We're using horses as kind of a healing, right?
Right. So I'm a clinical social worker and I do equine assisted therapy.
Love it.
Yeah, me too. And so I bring people out to the farm and we interact with the horses in different ways in order to help them gain awareness into their lives, into their own resiliencies, into their own capacities, and to help them make changes in their lives which are positive.
How cool is that?
Very.
So have you always been into horses then?
I've always been into horses since I was little. I was the little girl who was begging to go to pony camp. And I went, my grandma sent me, which was great. And then bought my first horse, and she's running around the field today, and she's out here. And then after that, just started to do some rehab work and some training, and then really started to do more with the horses. And here they are.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So then what can one person expect? Or, if they've never heard of this type of therapy, how would someone begin, or?
Well, we begin the same way we would any kind of treatment. We do a consultation. We want to make sure we're a good fit, right? And we want to make sure that the horses are going to have therapeutic benefit for them too. Because if they're not, it's not the best modality. Right. And then we come out to the farm. We do some observation work. We look at what horses are resonating and how are their behaviors impacting you, and what's the metaphors in there for you. And then I work with you to make sense of those metaphors, and then we start to bring the horses in, and we do a lot of one-on-one or small herd or even big herd work with hey mamas.
Yeah. Can you give me an example of a metaphor that you're talking about or referring to?
Sure. So even so let's say that we have a family that comes out and we're standing over the fence and we're watching the horses. And then the horses start to change their behavior, and there'll be a little bit more conflict or a little bit more space or a little bit more movement. We'll start to help the people make sense of, what does that mean? What does that represent in your life? What does space mean? What does movement mean?
So a lot of awareness.
A lot of awareness building. And because people know their stuff, they know their stories, they know what's going on. Sometimes they just need to help making sense of it, and then what do we do with it from here? Right? So I help to put it in a context for them.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Maureen McRae, or as Dr. Mo, I call her, is one of those women that has all the credentials in the world, but yet her energy and her love and her inspiration is just so contagious. I love my chats with her.
Cool.
And it's always amazing to have you here with me.
Thank you, Sean. It's great to be here.
So it's interesting sometimes when we come to speaking our truth and using our voice.
isn't it?
Because I think a lot of times in our heads, we know what we want, we know within our hearts, but it's almost a little scary.
It's totally scary.
Isn't it?
It's
to
terrifying.
go and speak your truth.
Yes.
With wherever it is, whether it's
Yes.
career, your profession, relationships, asking for what you need and receiving.
Yeah, we don't want to disappoint people. We don't want to let anybody down. You know, we want to be there for people. There's all the pressure to, you know, be that person who gets along with everybody and just it doesn't create a fuss and doesn't, you know,
exactly.
stir
Just go
up
with
the,
the
you know
flow,
what?
all
Right,
of
go
those
with the
types of
flow,
things.
right?
But
Don't be
what are we
difficult.
doing? Exactly.
Yeah.
But what are we doing to ourselves when we don't speak our truth? When we don't stand up for ourselves, or we don't stand up for a cause or something that we believe in?
Well, it's not good for us on any level. It totally disempowers us, and you know it prevents us from really stepping into what our life purpose is for the most part, and who we really are. We're not respecting ourselves. We're not in our heart. Fear is not in the heart. Fear is in the mind. So if we're afraid of speaking the truth, that means we're back up in our head. So, you know, really finding that voice and speaking our truth is, again, just what do you feel? And when you say to somebody, this is how I really feel, how can they not accept that?
Right, because it's
you
coming
don't
from
have
your
to
heart
scream
space.
it at anybody.
Yeah.
You know, you can just say it with love, but, you know, that doesn't feel good to me. I need to think about it. Right? It takes time, but I think as we take baby steps and we start doing it with those that, you know, we trust and that love us, then we move from that arena and take it outside into, you know, the workspace. Because if somebody's truly not allowing you to speak your truth, they're manipulating you. That's not the person that you really want to be around, is it?
No.
Or the people that you want to associate with. They're not elevating you, and they're not, you know, embracing who you really are as a person. So it's not truth at all. And do we want a relationship like that? Do we want to work in a job environment like that?
And you know what's interesting too, though, is that there's a lot of people with gifts. Whether that's speaking, whether that's, you know, a voice of singing and things like that. But we get so scared, even though we know our truth, we practice the truth within our own lives, within our own families, but then when we go out to society, whether it's stage, whether it's, you know, a new philosophy or a different modality, we get scared and we get fearful.
And we play small.
Yes.
Because we don't want somebody else to feel uncomfortable because of our gifts. But everybody has a gift. The universe is limitless abundance. We all need to come forward with what our gifts are and speak our truth.
So then how do we do that? Like, is it courage?
It can be courage, but I think it's practice. It's just doing the small steps and trying to do it in a way that is just gentle and
bite-sized, maybe?
Bite-sized pieces. It's a good place to go. Mm-hmm.
Just small things, right?
Yeah.
Ask for what you need.
I think because ultimately if we don't speak our truth, our body's going to give us enough signals to force us to step up, to force us to, you know, and I don't like even the word force, but our body gives us enough signals. And as we start to pay attention and drop more into our heart, become more empowered, speaking our truth becomes essential because we can't live any other way.
And it's just a way of being.
It's the only way to live, in our heart, with truth.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Abby.
Thank you. Take care.
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes workouts are a little bit tough, especially if we're just getting started. You're gonna feel sore, you're gonna feel tired, your heart rate's gonna get up, and some of us sweat. But power phrases are things that are sentences that propel us forward. So if it's, I'm strong and I'm powerful, those words, those phrases will help us when we have that last set to do, when we got that last 5 minutes on the cardio, or if we have a few extra stairs to do. Try them out, you'll see the difference. Are you ready for some core?
Sure.
Sure?
Sure. I mean, yes.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? We don't even have a mat. We're just sitting on a wall because we can improvise with whatever we have around. I'm gonna get you to scoot your legs around and we're gonna do a little V sit. So support yourself, your back, bring those knees in and bring the body. Perfect, doing a little V crunch. How do you feel?
Good.
Where do you feel that?
Kind of lower.
Lower core?
Like kind of everywhere.
Everywhere. So you ready to like up the antes a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, bring your legs forward and I want you to work the oblique. So I want you to bring your knees off to an angle and bring them up. Bend your knees, yep, up and down. Good job. So then you feel that in your oblique?
Yeah,
But then
absolutely.
you're probably using your core to stabilize yourself. right?
A little bit of everything, but definitely that oblique.
Yeah. And then you ready to up the antes one more time?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So bring your legs all the way down and bring them all the way straight up. So now we're not only working our quads, but our core as well. Do you feel that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to make Kurt continue to work on his core. Well, you guys take a look at this amazing success story from the Ticket to Change.
So when I lost my voice, probably within the first year of singing, it was really interesting to discover that I was doing it all wrong. But I was so excited that I just felt like this gangly kid wanting to sing every song on the planet, but I wasn't doing it correctly. So I ended up taking 4 months off of a lot of shows and had to get a replacement, but I ended up taking a month of that 4 months not speaking. So instead of surgery to cure the nodules on my vocal cords, I ended up making sure that I took care of myself, and I walked around with a notepad, and I made sure that there was no communication whatsoever with anyone so that I could heal myself. So I found out during that time that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Standing in our truth really means feeling who we are. So sometimes it's thinking who we are, sometimes it's acting or physically acting how we are. But for the most part, it's really feeling into who we are and embodying that power. I think the key to that is awareness, is really knowing yourself and being open to being vulnerable in times when it's really challenging to do so. But I think that's probably the most relatable thing that anyone would be able to connect with. It is something that I would share with anyone because there's an energy to it as well. So when you're in in a truthful space, you can feel it. And when you're using your voice in that space, that's when I think a lot of people can really understand what it means to be human and to still want to be better every day.
I'm standing here in the beautiful kitchen of the Azridge Estate Hotel, and I have a coconut in my hand because I love coconuts. Coconut is like the big theme right now, right? Everyone has heard of your coconut oil and the versatility within that, but I wanted to share a few other things with you as well. Have you ever tried coconut chips? You can buy them in the health food section, but you can put them on your salads, you can put them on top of your yogurt, or you can just eat them just like that. You have plain ones, and then there's even chocolate ones if you're a chocolate coconut lover, which is kind of what my next recipe is. And we made them a little bit big, I think maybe for display, but what you could do is just use your small little tiny muffin tins, and you kind of just melt your chocolate, fill the bottom, and then use coconut, just your plain old shredded coconut, unsweetened though, and you add some coconut oil to it. You kind of mix it all together. So you would add your melted chocolate, then your coconut mixture, and then you would add your chocolate on top. So if we just did this, let's pretend it's melted, and then you'd add your mixture on top, and then some more chocolate chips, and then you would freeze it. And you know what? They are so yummy. And you know what? Top it with a little bit of shredded coconut. Why not? I'm gonna head to the superstore and have a chat with Tessa to see what other things we can use this magical stuff for. Thanks for joining me, hon.
Absolutely.
So with this new phase crave that's going on with this coconut oil, we did a few segments back at the Azridge with coconut oil.
Awesome.
And I had to come meet you.
Yeah.
To talk about what this is for our bodies.
Let's talk about it. You bet.
Do you like coconut oil?
Love coconut oil.
Okay, good.
Yeah. In fact, they've done over 1,500 studies in proving that coconut oil is one of the healthiest foods in the world. Yeah,
No.
that's huge. Yeah.
Okay, so why?
Most researched is coconut oil.
And it's all
awesome.
fat?
It's all fat. It's such essential fats that we need to function, to be alert, to have our metabolism revved up.
Yeah.
To absorb nutrients properly, to the list is, you can go on and on.
From the inside and the outside, right? Like how many beauty
absolutely.
products are used with the coconut oil
That
as the
is
base,
so
right?
true. Oh yeah, you can make at-home DIY little lotions and lip balms, hair. You can use it head to toe and
Even the
inside.
swish thing in your mouth. What's that?
Yeah, oil pulling.
Oil pulling.
Yeah.
So what is that?
It's a good one. So basically, best time to do oil pulling, they say, is in the morning
oil
time.
pulling. Okay.
And you put about a tablespoon of oil into your mouth.
Okay.
Swish it around for 20 minutes. I know that sounds like a long
20
time.
minutes?
What I say is work your way up. So
Okay.
maybe swish
That's a
around
good
for a
tip.
couple minutes one day, spit it out. Make sure you spit it out in the garbage, not in your sink. It is oil. You don't want that
that's a good tip.
clogging up in your sink. Yeah, and don't swallow. Because what you're doing when you're swishing the oil in your mouth, you're pulling out toxins. And if you swallow any of that, you are now ingesting the toxins and you could get an upset. So make sure you're spitting it out in the garbage, and then the next day, shoot for a longer time. Work your way up to 20 minutes.
You know what? I think I'm going to grab 2 of them.
Yes,
'Cause it's always
cooking
good.
and then body.
Yes,
I know, I keep one in the
bathroom
bathroom and then one in the kitchen.
Oh, thanks so much for all of your tips, honey.
Yeah, you're welcome.
John is a local entrepreneur and a big thinker. I knew when I first met him that there was more inside him that I wanted to learn about. So we sat down and had a few conversations. Sometimes people struggle with standing up for themselves, whether it's, asking for a raise or maybe sharing with their partner kind of the issues that they're having within that relationship. But using our voice is such a huge, important aspect that we all need to do. First off, why do you think sometimes people don't use their voice, and how can we start using our voice to stand in our power?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I've never really had a problem using my voice.
Oh, well, that's good.
No, it's good. It's good and it's not so good. I mean, it's funny because it goes kind of 2 ways. I'm a very intense person, just generally. Like, when I find something I enjoy, I mean, I do it. And if I'm feeling a certain way, I'm very vocal about it. So
Have you always been like that?
Yeah.
Like even from like a...
Pretty much. I've gotten into trouble too, don't get me wrong. I mean, it goes 2 ways, because then I look at my wife, for instance, who is not necessarily vocal and not as intense when it comes to those things, but once push comes to shove, when she is, it's much more impactful, right? So
what happens when we keep it in?
I mean, again, we go back to those regrets, right? And those thoughts of, oh, what if I would have, right?
So is there anything so let's just use this building, for example. Because what was your whole idea with that? Because you had to use your voice with that whole thing, right?
For sure. I mean, we were coming in here, there's 3 groups. There's ours, and there's Phil and Sebastian, and there's a V from Sidewalk Citizen, and we formed this partnership. We put together this pitch where it showed all of our businesses, and we presented in front of the CMLC and the board, and the mayor Nancy's on the board, and
what did you say? What was your pitch?
Well, I mean, it showed our space and how this hyper-local community of small entrepreneur businesses in Calgary all work together to create this very unique experience in this incredible gathering place in a historic building in East Village. And there were over 200 submissions for this building, and people from around the world wanted this. It's a beautiful building.
200?
Yeah, and we were shortlisted, and then we were shortlisted again, and kept on narrowing down to the top 3. And it was a long process. It was years. It was not months. It was years. And finally, they selected us, and it was because of who we are as individuals.
And your plan to have all 3 of you.
The plan. Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Using your voice, standing up, 200 different applications.
Yeah, we definitely never gave up. No.
And that's huge. And then we sit here today.
Yeah, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Does it look okay?
It doesn't look okay. It's fantastic. And thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom.
Of course.
I hope you were able to find some inspiration today on using your voice and standing in your power, because life's too short for you not to go after what it is that you want. Thanks for watching.